Bolos means, to throw, backwards it becomes, worth. The tree of good and evil gave you access to a spiritual currency, fire enclosed inside air. This fire-charged air is a double-edged sword/solid word that should be used carefully. This cleaver compare clever, divides both the inner and the outer. Use it with caution or you'll fall from your tightrope, losing your inner balance, your 0 point. Saying or thinking that something is of high or low value, worthy of appraisal or slander, points into two directions, which means it has its origin in the dichotomy of ego. And every time you use this magical wand you'll create an unbalance in your inner world, which is your reality. Every time you say someone or something is bad, the other side of this word/sword points back to you, saying that you are good. Every time you think or say that you are good, you make yourself into a thing. A thing is an object, something that is solid, dead, will be preserved over time because it no longer has any flow. An object is something that is preserved over time since its opposites are fixed, they no longer exchange anything, have no flow. You have become something manifest, you've taken on a role, a mask, and now identify with one of the other actors in the limelight, the public arena ruled by Saturn/Satan. You have become static, a stone golem. Your ego is the left brain hemisphere, hemi means half, the word sphere can be interpreted as solid for S plus the word fear, solid fear. The root of thoughts are to be found in fear, as an opposite to love, which is fire, and all living creatures deep down want inclusion, a solution that only the heart can deal with, but only heroes dare to follow the heart because its path goes through Hades. Air is a scale, as is shown in the symbol of the zodiac sign Libra. A scale that weighs between fear and love, between the head and heart, between air and fire. Mind is the one who has the power, is the strong of these two elements. Fire is subtle and silent. Mind's only winning strategy would be to surrender, but that takes an enormous amount of heroism, to dare facing fear. All in this life is upside down and inside out, all is a paradox, and the winner is the loser. The controller is the controlled. To follow the heart means a risk of failure, and to feel suffering, but the biggest failure is to avoid your own freedom that lays in taking these risks. To live is to feel, to be in contact with your emotions, with source. And not to become a demon. A demon means a daemon that is disconnected from emotions, from flow, from water, source. The moon is the mother, she rules water. She nurtures her loved ones, she passes on the living flame of fire, so you'll be able to withstand the storm of life, this world. Love is the glue that holds your inner world together. Libra is the opposite sign of Aries, the newborn fire. The fire is just potential, not yet manifest, hence he is obsessed of becoming. The winning act from mind would be to surrender to the heart, and find unity, but because of fear he chose the strategy of control and he sacrifices his chance to flow. Worship is a worship, the projection of your spiritual currency onto someone or something. A parable is a pair of apples, or a pear and an apple. Par Abel, for Abel the brother of Cain. In par with means, in balance. Parable is a parallel? Maybe all of these things. According to Wikipedia, a parable is, quote, a parable is a succinct, didactic story, in prose or verse, that illustrates one or more instructive lessons or principles, end quote. What Wikipedia say is that a parable is a story with a teaching function. If you look at this image I made, an image that I described in another video, you'll see that the word parable comes from the root words para and bolos, and the word bolos means to throw, while para means in parallel, alongside with. An interpretation from me is that if you manage to use your spiritual currency in a balanced way, keep your inner 0 point and root your life in source, that is fire and water, the heart and emotions. You'll be able to write your story, and not follow his story, which is history, Satan's dream. Our world is a collective narrative that we've been programmed with. It consists of thoughts, that is air. Our world is a world, a whirlwind, a storm, a tornado, a typhon, and this word is actually an anagram for python, the snake/serpent. Our world consists of a symmetry between inner and outer, which represents the four elements structured into two couples. The inner is horizontal and consists of a flow of fire and water, life, potential, etc. While the outer is control, a vertical couple of air and earth. The actual, what is manifest. The word truth can be seen as T-Ruth. T is for the word time, which is Chronos, the Greek name for Saturn, which is Satan. While Ruth is a woman in the Bible who was married to a man named Boaz, which is also the name of the feminine pillar in Freemasonic teachings, the Een pillar in this image shown. The book of Ruth in the Bible describes how God interacts with humans and show himself to us in everyday life. Traditional etymology is more or less bullshit, it gives clues but not at all any depth. It is linear, as all of the teachings of academia. The true knowledge / an owl edge, are to be found in the center inside of you, as an author, and not an actor. The geniality of the heart has a complex and paradoxical logic that is cyclical, a logic that say, opposites are the same, they are just two sides of the same coin. The heart say, all is one. I will end this video with a poem. Quote, risk and laugh, Leo Buscaglia. A laugh is the risk of appearing foolish. To cry there is the risk of being called sentimental. To establish contact with another there is a risk of getting involved. To show their feelings there is a risk of showing your true self. To discuss your ideas and dreams there is a risk of being called naive. For love there is the risk of not being paid. To live there is the risk of dying. Hope there is a risk of despair and groped in there is a risk of failure. But you have to take the risks, because the greatest risk in life is not to risk anything. The person who risks nothing, is nothing and becomes nothing. May avoid suffering and sorrow, but he cannot learn to feel and change and grow and love and live. Chained to his confidence, is a slave. He gave up on freedom. Only the person who risks is truly free.